Welcome back to Fun Valley, everybody. Steve Carpenter with you as we get set for game number 2 of this doubleheader, softball doubleheader between the Hutchinson Community College Blue Dragons and Fort Scott Greyhounds. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Hutchinson led game 1 8-1 and wound up losing in 9 innings, 9-8. So all the momentum in that third base dugout of Fort Scott. And Jamie Rose is going to send Cassidy Pruka, the sophomore from Bellevue, Nebraska, into the circle for game number 2. The wind picking up a little bit. It was 56 degrees at first pitch of game number 1. It's still in the right around 60 degrees, but the winds have picked up a little bit out of the northwest at about 20. Real quickly, let's get to the starting lineup. First for Fort Scott, now 7-16, winners of 5 straight. They will line up like this. Sierra Sanderson will lead it off and play left field. Kennedy Meyer, the center fielder, bats second. Lane Bolkin bats third and plays shortstop. Abby Cox is the pitcher in game number 2. She had 4 hits, 3 RBIs in the first game. Mackenzie Sample moves into the 5 slot and plays third base. Batting 6th will be the first baseman, Delaney Freeze. 5 RBIs in game number 1, including a game-tying grand slam in the 7th. Adriana Pedro bats 7th to play second base. Jordan Cunningham's the catcher batting 8th. And Josie, Josie Bartlett is the batting 9th, plays right field. So it's Sanderson, Meyer, Bolkin, Cox, Sample, Freeze, Pedro, Coddington, and Bartlett for Fort Scott. With Abby Cox in the circle. Blue Dragons will line up like this. No changes with the exception of the pitcher. Alexis Way in center field, Taylor Ullery in right, Bryn Stockman in left, Beanie Luddick, the catcher, batting 4th. Bailey Bronner, the DH batting, or the DP batting 5th. Ashley Wilson at first base batting 6th. AJ Briones batting 7th at third base. Caitlin Schumacher batting 8th at shortstop. Shelby Felvis, the second baseman, bats 9th, and Cassidy Pruka, the left-hander, gets the start in the circle. The numbers on Cassidy. We'll get to them momentarily as that wind really starting to pick up a little bit. Pruka, first start of the year, 5th appearance, no record in the 16.20 ERA. She's thrown just 3 1/3 innings pitched, allowed 5 hits, 7 runs, 6 have been earned, 2 strikeouts and 4 walks. She gets her first start kind of by happenstance. Ashley Davis throwing more than 50 pitches in relief in game number 1. The big left-hander winds and fires and misses low ball 1. First pitch coming at 5:19 p.m. The Game 1 went 2 hours and 56 minutes, by far the longest game of the year by the Blue Dragons this year. Pruka is 1-0 and therefore a strike. Sierra Sanderson was 1 for 6 in game 1. Struck out once. Lefty-lefty matchup to pitch. Little pop, foul territory, third base side. AJ Briones has it and 1 away. Kennedy Meyer. Meyer in the first game, 2 for 5, 3 runs scored, a walk. Pruka's pitch, strike at the letters. Imagine Jamie Rose and Ray Aguirre will be pitcher by committee. Still got Bryn Stockman out left, who hasn't been used yet. But they were going to try to ride the left arm of Cassidy Pruka as long as they can, and hopefully get the offense going. They were out hit 16-4 in game number 1, and still only lost it by 1 run in 9 innings. 0-1 to Meyer. Downstairs a ball, 1-1. Cassidy out of Bellevue, Nebraska, and of course, Bellevue being one of the cities in Nebraska that runs along the Missouri River just to south of Omaha, experiencing all that flooding. Haven't had a chance to talk to Cassidy to see if her family's okay. Bunt popped up, fielded by Pruka. She spins and throws, but she eats it. It'll be an infield single. Probably wise to hold on to it, but a bunt single. That's third infield hit for Meyer. He's awfully fast down the line. Now Lane Bolkin. 2 for 3 in game number 1. Drove in a run, walked once, scored a run. Greyhounds were relentless through the middle of their order, and everybody else has kind of jumped on board. 16 hits in game number 1. Pruka's pitch. Ground ball right back to her. She snares it, goes to second for 1, on to first, and the throw pulled her off. So 1-6 fielder's choice, and they get the lead runner, now 2 away. Pruka, the left-hander, it was kind of a tough play. She fielded it, but then threw against her body. Now here's the pitcher, Abby Cox. 4 hits in the first game, drove in 3 singles and a double. Runner at first now, 2 away. Just underway in game number 2. Strike at the knees, good pitch from Cassidy. I, being a Husker State native, know many people affected by the flooding up there. Thoughts and prayers go out to all those folks, as well as everybody. And now everybody who is experiencing it down the stream in Missouri, Kansas, and soon to be, once it reaches the Mississippi River, those in St. Louis and Point South. 1-1 the count now. The pitch. The pitch gets away all the way back to the screen, and quickly up to second is Bolkin. One of the most scenic parts of the state of Nebraska is up in the northeast and north central corner along the Niobrara River. And a lot of that has been decimated by the dam failure of the 90-year-old Spencer Dam. And that's what really kind of exacerbated the situation up there. And all that water's now working its way down the Missouri River. 2-1 pitch. Ground ball, 1 hopper right to the first baseman, Ashley Wilson. 2 steps to the bag, and the inning is over. So a good start for Cassidy Pruka. She does allow 1 infield single on a bunt, but nothing further. No runs. A hit, 1 left after half inning. Fort Scott nothing, and the Dragons coming up. Now the Dragons will get their first look at Abby Cox. Already seeing what you can do with a bat. Alexis Way will lead it off here in the bottom of the first. Cox making her 9th start of the year. 1-6 record in the 7 ERA. Swinging a foul ball. 7 complete games of her 8 starts for Cox. 43 innings pitched, 69 hits allowed, 56 runs, 43 earned. 30 strikeouts, 14 walks, and she's let 8 home run balls already go in that 7 ERA. Dragons need to get the offense going. Way swings and misses, and it's 0-2. And Alexis had a absolutely horrible first game. 4 strikeouts in the game. And going 0 for 4 with a run and an RBI. That one was a ground ball out that scored a run. Pitch outside. Way now hitting. 433 updated, no home runs, 11 RBIs. 26 hits. Pitching on the hands, fouled into the Dragon stands. Lost a lot of the crowd between games 1 and 2. Dragon batting average in that first game dropped 13 total points to 311. Struck out a combined 13 times and now have 100 for the season. Make that 101. Way strikes out again. 5th strikeout of the afternoon. One away for right fielder Taylor Ullery. Ullery had a huge 3-run triple that at the time gave the Blue Dragons a 7-1 lead. They tacked on another behind it for 8-1. And that was the last run that the Blue Dragons scored. First pitch swinging, popped up in the infield. It's the second baseman, Adriana Pedro, making the call on the catch, 2 away. It's kind of a gut check game for the Blue Dragons. They had a big lead and let it go. A lot of young players. There's Bryn Stockman, the sophomore
Number 14, Bryn Stockman
of Overland Park. Upstairs, ball 1. Stockman now hitting .333 for the year, 19 for 57, 3 home runs, 15 RBIs. Stockman was 0 for 5 with an RBI ground out in the first game, reached twice on errors. Strike at the letters, 1-1. Fort Scott pitching staff came in with a 7+ ERA. Ooh. Curveball with a lot of movement, but it barely catches the outside corner, and now Stockman's down to the count 1-2. Dragons haven't had a hit since the 4th inning of game number 1. Jam shot popped up. It's the catcher, Coddington, who's got it, and the Dragons go very quickly in order in the first. After 1, Dragons nothing, Greyhounds nothing. Mackenzie Sample. Delaney Freeze and Adriana Pedro. 5, 6, and 7 here in the Fort Scott second to face Cassidy Pruka. Gave up just a bunt signal in her first inning of her first start of the year. No score, top of second. Steve Carpenter with you. Pruka misses with a changeup low, ball 1. Sample in the first game was 2 for 5, scored a couple of runs. Fort Scott had 4 early errors and really cleaned it up after that. Showing bunt but taking low for a ball, 2-0. Fort Scott out-hit Hutch 16-4 in game number 1. Freeze had 3 hits, Cox had 4, Sample had 2, as well as Bulkin and Meyer. 2-0 pitch. showing bunt, pulling back, taking all the way, a strike at the belt, 2-1. Only hits for Hutch were 2 hits from Taylor Ullery, including a 3-run triple, a double by A.J. Briones, and a single by Beanie Luddy. Pitch in the dirt, 3-1. Kaylin Schumacher in for a word of encouragement for Cassidy Pruka. Got to meet Cassidy's mom on a setup earlier out here. I believe it was the Cloud County games. We had a triple header of things going on that day. Strike call, full count. At that time, Cassidy's mom said that Omaha had one of the worst winters ever. And when that bomb cyclone came through up there, it just really made things 100 times worse. Payoff pitch from Pruka. Little looper, that'll get into center field for a base hit. So leadoff single, good pitch. Right now, everything Fort Scott's kind of swinging at is finding it, finding green. Now Delaney Freeze. It was the star of game number 1. Hitless in her first appearance in the game, and when she returned. Grand slam and then a game when he hit, and that pitch, did it hit her in the helmet? It did. Now considering that she's hanging on the inside corner, I'm not so sure that wasn't, she didn't move, so there's no attempt to get out of the way, which you don't have to do. That's a fallacy that people have about getting hit with pitches. So now second inning trouble for Pruka and the Blue Dragons. Sample single, Freeze reached on a hit batsman, and now Adriana Pedro. Pedro moved down into the 7 slot after hitting the 5 slot in the first after going 0 for 5. Bunts one high foul, and they go. Probably should have left it alone, but I think the bunt and run was on. The runners were on the move. So Kaylani Bryan really kind of going for the jugular early. She knows she has the Blue Dragons down mentally after that big comeback win. She's going to put the pressure on the Blue Dragons to kind of come out of their funk. The pitch. Bunted through this one for a strike. Beanie Luddig runs up the line to chase back the runner Sample at second. Like that, it's 0-2. Quick shout out to former Blue Dragon softball player who is blowing my Twitter or my phone up. Really, with just one text. Megan Hudson checking in. Great to hear from her. She's always one of my favorites. Also on one of my stat crews. Pitch down in the dirt for a ball, 1-2. Once I taught Megan the finer points of stat keeping, she would argue with me about what was what, if it was an assist or whatever. But I expect that from Megan. She's a feisty one. Of Marion, Kansas. Same hometown as Shelby Felvis. 1-2 pitch. Slice foul outside of first. And this is my first games back from the national tournament. My first games of the year. I've got to call a baseball game yet. They're 20-some-odd games into the season. Just with schedule changes and weather, and it was. At this point, I should have had about 6 softball games and 8 baseball games in. 1-2 pitch from Pruka. It hit her right in the helmet. Went right in, hit her right in the helmet, just grazed it. Now it's a single and 2 hit batsmen have the bases loaded with nobody out for the Dragons here in the second, or for the Greyhounds here in the second. Dragon coaching staff right now consent to kind of play this out a little bit. But now Ray Geary pops up out of his chair and calls for time and is granted. So after a strong first inning, Ray was looking down toward the dugout, and I think we might get a pitching change. Looks like it's going to be maybe Bailey Bronner. We'll have a pitching change, and it will be Bailey Bronner. We'll tell you about her when we return. Sophomore Bailey Bronner takes over in the circle with the most unenviable task. Bases loaded, nobody out in a tie ball game. A single and two-hit batsmen have Fort Scott primed for a big inning. Bailey making her fourth appearance, all in relief. Off-speed pitch misses, just low ball one. Bronner, no record, and 11.25 earned run average. Again, in her fourth appearance, just 4 innings pitched, 10 hits, 8 runs, 5 earned, 2 walks, 1 strikeouts, and opponents hitting .455 against. 1-0 pitch in the dirt. Good block by Beanie Ludwig. That saved a run. Coddington was showing bunt. Right now, Fort Scott head coach Kaylani Bryan trying to get this Dragon defense moving. Coddington 1 for 4 in the first game with a walk. 2-0 pitch is bunted foul. Good location from Bronner as she squared. Pitch right in on the hands. Basically all Coddington could do was foul it off. Kind of a more cloudy moment. There's no shadows. Sun behind a cloud. Changeup misses high, 3-1, and there's no room to put them. There's just times as a pitcher you got to say, I'm coming after you. Damn the results. Right now, Bailey Bronner might be in one of those spots. 3-1 delivery. Inside ball 4, and that'll force in a run. Coming down the line to score is Sample to make it 1-0. Freeze goes to third, Pedro to second. And that long extra inning game in game number 1 really kind of screwed the pitching plans up of the Blue Dragons. Megan Davis was scheduled to be the starter, but she ends up throwing more than 50 pitches. As Hutchinson pitching almost threw 200 pitches in that first game. Now Josie Bartlett, the right fielder. Upstairs for a ball. Bartlett 1 out of 5 in the first game. Struck out twice. Benny Ludwig's going to pop up and call time, and with the runners on, make sure that everybody's on the same page. That's the sign of a sophomore leader. So all kinds of NCAA tournament action going on. The pitch. Showing bunt is Bartlett, and she takes low for a ball, 2-0. Temperature at 62 degrees, but that wind out of the northwest still has kind of a bite in the air. But at least it's not what it was 2 weeks ago. Absolutely miserable. Bartlett, the 9-hole hitter, taking all the way. It's a strike, 2-1. The wind itself actually looks like it's now calmed down a bit. The flag not so ferociously blowing. 10 to 15 with some gust. You can hear those through the microphone. Again, we are in an open air press area. 2-1 pitch. Popped up. Shallow right toward the line is Ulrich. She's got it. Faking the tag and not coming down as Freeze, and that's a big first out. So 1 out now. And it's back to the top of the order in Sierra Sanderson. Back to facing a right-hander. Cassidy Pruka tied her up into a pop-out and foul territory to third baseman A.J. Briones. Here's a pitch. Good pitch from Bronner. A strike called. 0-1. Right now for the Dragon coaches, it's keep the kids build up. Again, this has not been a normal year. They're not going to use it as an excuse, but there have been ramifications from not being able to practice outside stuff like that. Line shot to Briones. Did they get her? Yes, it's an assisted double play by Briones. She caught the ball going to her right and then dove back at the runner Freeze just before she got back to the bag. It's an unassisted double play, And Fort Scott comes away with only one when it could have been much, much worse. A web jab by Briones. 1 run on 1 hit. After 1, Fort Scott 1, Hutchinson nothing. Blue Dragons are looking for a spark to get the offense going. 3:24 coming into the afternoon, held to 4 hits in game number 1. And going down in order against Abby Cox in the top of the first. They've been out hit in this doubleheader now, 18-4. Benny Ludwig will lead it off here in the bottom of the second. Steve Carpenter with you from Fun Valley. Fort Scott leads 1-0. A spinner from Cox misses outside, ball 1. Ludwig in the first game was 1 for 3. A single. Taking a strike there. Now a .423 average for Beanie, 22 hits and 52 at-bats. Team high 6 home runs and 17 driven in. 17 runs, also a team high. Lays off a tantalizing changeup that misses high and outside. She's ahead in the count, 2-1. Fort Scott pitchers have basically been making Dragon hitters hit on their terms. Upstairs, a ball 3-1. The Dragons have chased and chased and chased up to the tune of 11 strikeouts in the first game. Alexis Way has struck out 5 times today in 6 plate appearances. That ball is just absolutely crushed, but well foul. Full count now to Ludwig. Here's a payoff. Got her swinging on a changeup. Right now, the Dragon batter's completely and utterly off balance. 2 strikeouts now for Cox. And now the pitcher, Bailey Bronner. Bronner now 9 for 19. Average has dropped to .474 with a double and 3 RBIs. Starting in the batting order for the 6th consecutive game. Taking high, ball 1. Not sure where that one missed, but it did, and it's 1-1. Bronner in the first game was 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts and an RBI. The pitch. In there for a strike. And the one thing that the Fort Scott pitchers are not doing, they're not to give him the same pitch twice. Pitch popped up in the infield. Third baseman Mackenzie Sample calling for it and has it. 2 away. 5 in a row retired by Cox. And with each at bat, the frustration for Hutchinson sets in a little bit deeper, and you're going to start seeing a lot more pop-ups. Now Ashley Wilson, the freshman first baseman in the first game, 0 for 4 with a strikeout and a walk, also a run scored. Takes the ball low and away. Wilson's average now at .273, 12 hits and 44 at bats, 1 home runs, 8 RBIs. Strike at the letters. 1-1. I will almost tell you this. If the Dragons can get one, maybe two quality at-bats together, could a couple of hits going. Fly ball, center field shallow. Meyer back. Actually, it's the shortstop making the call, and he's got it. I lost track of it. And the Dragons go very quietly in the second. So Hutchinson now trails 2-0 heading to the third. You're listening to Blue Dragon Softball on the Blue Dragon Sports Network. Two, three, four here in the Fort Scott third against Bailey Bronner, who came in relief of Cassidy Pruka. Entered in a very tough situation. Bases loaded, nobody out. She did walk about it with the bases loaded, but settled in. Got a great unassisted double play from A.J. Briones to end the inning. Strike one to Kennedy Meyer. Meyer single, a bunt single in the first. She has 3 hits today, all infield singles. Off speed, misses away, 1-1. Always look at slappers and always compared them to former Arizona leadoff hitter Caitlin Lowe. The pitch tapped in front of the plate. That's a fair ball. Luddick pours it down the line to get her. Nice play by Beanie, 1 away. That ball maybe 4 feet in front of the plate, and Luddick right out of her stance to fire a strike to Ashley Wilson at first. 1 away for Lane Bolkin, the shortstop. Bolkin reached on a fielder's choice her first time and was stranded. Curveball misses outside, ball 1. Saying earlier that the Dragons is going through these up and down times. It's going to be a part of it for a while until they really kind of figured out who they are. This is a team still searching on many levels. Hard hit ball, line drive caught by A.J. Briones again. There's 2 away. It's been Johnny on the spot twice. She committed the error in the top of the 9th inning in game 1 and allowed eventually became the game or the go-ahead run. Like the way she's come back. Now here's pitcher Abby Cox. The comebacker to Pruka to end to first. After 4 straight hits, she's been hitless in her last 2 plate appearances. Pitch in the dirt, ball 1. And that's what you got to look at for a team that's growing like this. How do they respond to adverse situations? Sometimes it's going to be good, sometimes it's not. It's just part of the game. Pitch drops in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Bronner out of that powerhouse softball program at Haven. Are the top program in Reno County. Pitch upstairs for ball 2-1. Here's the pitch. Sails outside, 3-1. Talking to Ray Aguirre. In fact, his desk is about 20 feet from my office, so I have to walk past it every time I go in and out. We always talk softball. 3-1 pitch. And once hit well, the center field on the run is way, and she can't get to it. It gets past her. On her way to second is Cox, and that's where she's going to settle up. A 2-out double to center field. Alexis didn't have a chance to catch it, but she really needed to try to knock it down. It'll be a straight double. Now the third baseman, Mackenzie Sample, who singled and scored her first time. She has the game's only run. But talking with Ray Aguirre, just talking about what he's trying to do with these pitchers. Basically, just bring them along a day at a time. You go into the season expecting to have your number one pitcher, Marissa Rollin, going, but she has suffered through some injuries. Will be back. Just a matter of bringing the rest of this pitching staff along a day at a time. There's going to be days they're going to pitch well. There's going to be days they won't. There's going to be days that looks like they're pitching well, and stuff like what happened in game number one happens. So it all becomes a learning experience, and hopefully the cumulative effect by the time we reach the end of April will have made a big difference. Pitch upstairs, 2-0. Check that, 3-0. The one thing the Blue Dragons, and throughout all the years, even dating back to the mid to late 80s when they were very good, that was about the only time they truly had true pitching depth. Dragons have always had a very good number one. And it's always been pitcher by committee after that. They pitch misses ball 4. Now it's 2 on and 2 out. Just some 2 out trouble for Bronner. That'll bring up Delaney Freeze, who was hit by a pitch. Her first time up. Cut down on the base paths. On the double play, the unassisted double play by A.J. Brianna. She was the runner at third. Strike called outside corner. Going back to the first game and just kind of finishing the thought on what Ray Aguirre and I would talk about. That again, that freshman learn curve for a pitcher, whether it be softball or baseball, so big. Pulled foul outside of third, and it's 0-2 to Freeze. Doesn't mean the kids aren't talented. It just means they have to make that adjustment up to the next level. And instead of being able to just throw the ball, they've got to learn how to pitch. Long story short. 0-2 to Freeze. Bronner's pitch. Got her swinging, and the inning is over. Good pitch. Bronner gets her first strikeout of the afternoon, and the Greyhounds strand 2 in the third. No runs, a hit, 2 left. We go to the bottom of the third. Dragons trail Fort Scott 1-0. Keep looking for the spark. Perhaps it's A.J. Briones. Bottom third of the order against Tammy Cox here in the third inning. Cox came into this game a 7 ERA, but she's retired the first 6 Blue Dragons she has faced. Briones had a double in game number 1. For the season, now hitting .341, 14 for 41, 2 doubles, 8 RBIs. First pitch swing, he's popped up foul territory, and it will reach the seats. Some of the fans sitting in lawn chairs in front of the bleacher section go scurrying. Ben Whitson in the third base box. Head coach Jamie Rose over at first. They've had this configuration for about 4 years now. Ben running the offense. The pitch. Little jam shot popped up shallow center. Coming in to get it is Kennedy Meyer, and there's one away. It's 7 in a row retired by Cox. Right now the Dragons just not getting good swings. Here's Caitlin Schumacher. Schumacher hitting .255 with 12 hits, 2 doubles, 3 RBIs. First pitch is a changeup. Caitlin checked the swing, and it's ball 1. Schumacher 0 for 3 in the first game, struck out once. Pitch inside, 2-0 to the Dragons shortstop. Again, I'm willing to bet right now, if the Dragons can just put a couple of good at-bats together, it gets contagious. 3-0. It's amazing when a team slumps, or when one of their good players are slumping, the rest of them go into a slump. When one of the good players is hitting well, success is contagious. Taking all the way is Caitlin. It's a strike 3 and 1 on the cripple pitch. 29 pitches, 19 strikes for Cox right now. This is potentially a very explosive lineup Jamie Rose has. Downstairs in the dirt, ball 4. So Schumacher draws a 1-out walk. She becomes the first base runner of the game. That'll bring up second baseman Shelby Felvis. Shelby in the first game 0 for 2 with a sacrifice. It was her bunt that led to 2 throwing errors by the Greyhounds that gave Hutch an early 3-1 lead. Sophomore from Marion bunts one foul. And probably either should have gotten out of the way or warned the pitch. It was high and tight. She could have got the bat out of the way, but she went after it. Easy for me to say I'm sitting up here. Felvis now hitting .226, 12 for 53. Taking for a strike, 0-2. Shelby last year got up to such that tremendous start at second base, and then went into about just a major slump over the last 6 weeks of the season. Curveball misses outside, 1-2. But she never got her head down about it. She kept battling away and stayed with it. There's a 1-2 pitch. Wouldn't chase the curveball away. Now 2-2 to Felvis. Shelby for 2 years has worked on my volleyball table crew as a libero tracker. 2-2 pitch. Little tapper foul. Those aren't easy to find. But Shelby mastered it quickly as a freshman and stayed with me for 2 years, and I'm greatly appreciative. Schumacher, first one away, the pitch called strike 3. Good pitch. Third strikeout now for Abby Cox. And it's back to the top of the order, and Alexis Way really needs to get it going. 1 strikeout in this game. She struck out 4 times in game number 1. Curveball inside corner strike. Right now, Cox is just painting that inside corner. Where in the first game, Delaney Freeze kept working away. Cox is not afraid to go inside to the Dragon hitters, and right now, she has them completely tied up. Swinging a foul back. 0-2 to Way. Sun has just come back out from a cloud. Pretty big cloud bank off to our west. And that changed the lighting tremendously for the left side of the defensive formation. Pitch outside a curveball. Now, if the Dragons are looking here, they're thinking about what they're seeing, what they're facing. When Cox is ahead in the count, she's working the curveball away. That's a ground ball and knocked down by the pitcher, but there won't be a play. It'll be an infield single for Way, and the Dragons have a little 2-out stuff working here in the third. So again, Way tried to pull off of it, but got enough of it to glance it off to Cox's glove. Once Lane Bolkin got to it, there was no chance to get anybody. Schumacher to second, Way at first. And now Taylor Ullery. Strike called. Ullery popped up to the second baseman her first time up. And it's a mile-high pop up into foul territory, and it's the shortstop, Lane Bolkin, who can't make the play. So new life for Ullery. Bolkin didn't take a great angle to the ball, and with that sun, that made it doubly difficult. But now it's 0-2 to Ullery. Dragons need a little two-out magic to tie this thing up. Schumacher at second, good speed. Alexis Way at first, also good speed. The 0-2. Good pitch on 0-2 from Cox. Had Ullery tied up, but she misses inside for a ball. She's been working away, and changed it up with a curveball in. Now 1-2. See if they go right back outside with it. High chopper left side, and it's right through the glove of the shortstop. Everybody's going to be safe. Now coming down the line is Schumacher, and she's going to score. Ben Whitsitt taking a chance, sending Schumacher with the left fielder, Sanderson, already with the ball in shallow left field territory. But the gamble pays off when we're tied at 1, an unearned run. Now Bryn Stockman.
Left fielder number 14, Bryn Stockman.
So an error to Ullery, no RBI. But we're tied at 1 here in the bottom of the third. Pitch inside to Bryn. Way at second. Tap foul at the plate, 1-1 to Stockman. Stockman still looking for her first hit of the doubleheader. Be a great time for one here. And the Dragons just with one hit in this game, 5 for the afternoon. Tapper right back to the pitcher. Cox fields and throws, and that'll do it for the Dragons in the third. But they get the tying run, albeit unearned, as Kaylin Schumacher hustles from second on an error off the bat of Taylor Ullery. 1 run, 1 hit, and 1 big error. And after 3, it is Hutchinson 1, Fort Scott 1. Scott Brooks teasing the fans with Sweet Caroline and pulling it off right before the da-da-da. Dragons tie it up with an unearned run in the third. Now we head to the fourth. It is the bottom 30-order to face Bailey Bronner. Adriana Pedro, the second baseman, hit by pitch her first time up. And Bronner misses with a pitch outside to start the inning. Just past the 6 o'clock hour. The first game took 2 hours and 58 minutes. 9-inning affair. It was long before we ever got to extra innings. Bronner's 1-0. Hard hit ball into left field for a base hit. Fourth hit by the Greyhounds in this one. And now catcher Jordan Coddington. A bases loaded walk to Coddington. She was the first batter that Bronner faced. And gave the Greyhounds a 1-0 lead. The pitch. Strike on the outside corner. Tied at 1 here in the 4th. Game number 2. Hit to the right side. That's going to get past the diving Felvis for a base hit. Stopping at second is Pedro. And not over swinging, Fort Scott has a couple of scratch singles to start the 4th inning. Now the 9-hole hitter, Josie Bartlett, in a likely bunt situation with the top of the order coming around. Megan Davis was throwing in the pen. She's now walking back into the dugout as if she's ready. There's Bartlett, who flew out to right her first time. Showing bunt, takes high for a ball. Beanie Luddig comes up ready to gun. Fort Scott doesn't give her a reason to. Luddig threw out 2 base runners in the first game. That one bunted foul. I think Beanie was trying to catch it in fair territory, just couldn't get out of the stance quick enough. Beanie Luddig's arm strength, very reminiscent of Blue Dragon All-American catcher Sarah Rothy. Beanie a little taller than Sarah was. Here's a 1-1. Again showing bunt, but pulling back for a ball. 2-1 to Bartlett. She's a 9-hole hitter. You don't want to give her a free pass and allow the top of the order to go up or come up with a no-out situation and bags full of Greyhounds. Bunts through that one for a strike. I don't think Bartlett thought so. But it's 2-2. Bronner needs to make it happen on this pitch. He doesn't want to go 3-2. She can still make a pitch here on her terms if she executes. The wind in the 2-2. Ground ball to Briones. Steps on the bag for 1. That'll be the only play. So Bronner did pitch on, make her, Bartlett hit on her terms. Slow grounder to Briones for the force out. Pedro retired at 3rd, Coddington the 2nd. And now Sierra Sanderson, the leadoff hitter, has fouled out and lined out to Briones at 3rd. That's the way she wants to go. Strike at the knees. 0-1 to Sanderson. Bronner climbs back aboard, about ready to deliver the 0-1. Here it is. Tapper to short. Schumacher flips over to 3rd on the backhand to get the force out. Now 2 away. About the only play they had. The ball was right in front of the lead runner, so that's the only place they could get her. Sanderson reaches on the fielder's choice. Coddington retired 6-5 at 3rd. And now Kennedy Meyer with 3 infield singles and 2, including 2 of the bunt variety. So far in this one, 1 for 2. The pitch and the dirt moving up. The throw down is not in time. It'll be a wild pitch charge to Bailey Bronner. But a great effort by Beanie Luddig to not only block it, but get the throw off and make it a fairly close play. Bartlett was the only runner to move up. Sanderson still at 1st. We'll probably see her go here before too long in this at bat. 1-0 now to Meyer. The wind in the pitch. Tap left side, fielded by Schumacher. Across, and she's safe. Simply, Meyer just beat it out. Coming down the line to score is Bartlett, so the wild pitch comes back to bite Bronner, and Fort Scott leads 2-1. The little things of this game. And nothing Caitlin could do. She did nothing wrong. A 2-out infield single. Myers, fourth of the game, or fourth of the day, gives Fort Scott a 2-1 lead. Now Lane Bolkin reached on a fielder choice and lined out to third. And hit skies one to left and deep. Bronner back at the fence, looks up, and it's off the base of the fence. 2 runs will score as Bolkin's at second with a 2-run, 2-out double. And Fort Scott leads at 4-1. So an unfortunate break. I don't think Bryn got a great read. That sun's still looking right in her eyes. I don't think she ever got a good read off the ball. Runners were going with 2 outs, so Sanderson and Myers scored easily. Now 7 hits of the game for Fort Scott, and they lead the Blue Dragons 4-1. Here comes Jamie Rose, and here comes Megan Davis. Pitching change coming. We'll tell you about the new Dragon pitcher after this break. Fort Scott has broken through for 3 2-out runs here in the top of the fourth. Take a 4-1 lead. Jamie Rose goes back to Megan Davis, who was scheduled to be the Game 2 starter, but ended up throwing 50-plus pitches in game number 1, taking the loss in Hutchinson's 9-8, 9-inning loss in game number 1. So Davis comes in to face the hot-hitting Abby Cox, who's also rolling in the circle. Cox 1 for 2 with a double. She has 5 hits on the afternoon, including 2 doubles. Curve ball from Megan, taken for ball 1. Lane Bolkin, a 2-run double off the base of the wall in left field. Scoring runs 3 and 4 for the Greyhounds in this one. The pitch. And once hit the center on the run his way, she'll chase it down in the right center field gap to end the inning. Good running catch by Alexis Way, and the inning is over. But Fort Scott comes up with 3 big runs on 4 hits. They leave 1. Halfway through in game number 2, it is now Fort Scott 4 and Hutchinson 1. Fort Scott leads Hutch 4-1, bottom of the fourth. They won the first game 9-8 in 9 innings, did the Greyhounds. Winners of 5 in a row now after starting the season 2-16. There's Beanie Luddig, struck out her first time. Ball 1 from Abby Cox, who entered the game with a 7 ERA. Either she's figured some things out, or the Dragons are slumping mightily, or a combination of both. A wide outside corner given a strike again, and it's 1-1. Right now, the Greyhound pitchers taking advantage of that wide berth on the curveball. 1-1 pitch. In on the hands, fouled back. Cox changing your locations practically every pitch, going in, out, up, down. This really has the Blue Dragons befuddled right now. 5 hits all told through 12 sets of at-bats on this Sunday afternoon at Fun Valley. 2-2 now to Ludwig. Got her swinging on a changeup. Ludwig goes down twice on strikes. Now Bailey Bronner is back to the DP. Bronner popped up her first time. Still looking for her first hit of the afternoon. Pass ball away. Cox has shown more breaking stuff, but even her rise ball's got some movement to it. Pitch taken low for a ball, 2-0 to Bronner. After Bronner will be Ashley Wilson, and if anybody gets on, A.J. Briones. Glad to be back behind the mic for baseball and softball. It's been a long spring. There's a strike, 2-1. Bronner was taking all the way. Hard hit ball to third, scooped up by Sample to throw across in time, 2 away. Runner now 0 for 2, and the space is empty, 2 away for first baseman Ashley Wilson. Wilson popped up to the shortstop Lane Bulk in her first time.
First baseman number 5, Ashley Wilson.
This is not, there's a strike, it's called to Wilson, not the way you want to be going in offensively to face Butler on Tuesday. And incidentally, all the reconfigured schedules had Hutchinson playing at Neosho County Monday. There's a swing and a foul back, and it's 0-2. That doubleheader against Neosho County has now been canceled. So the Dragons losing another doubleheader. That's already been changed around twice anyway. But now with Neosho County getting backed up on games and Hutchinson getting backed up on games, both with league variety, that non-league doubleheader's been called off. The pitch, tap foul, Wilson stays alive. This is not the way the offense has been wanting to go. And I mean, kind of a streak where the Dragons would struggle the first game of several doubleheaders and break out of it the second game. You know, they definitely struggled the first game, and there's been no breaking out here in the second game so far. Curveball misses low and away, 1-2. Despite the win, the Fort Scott defense has been playing shallow, and they really haven't had to worry about it because there's another swing and a miss and another strikeout. 3 up, 3 down in the Dragon fourth, heading to the fifth. Dragons trail by 3. Welcome back to Fun Valley. It hasn't been a very pleasant Sunday for Hutchinson. They're dropped the first game 9-8 in 9 innings after leading 8-1. Now trailing this one 4-1. Mackenzie Sample will lead off the fifth for Fort Scott, the third baseman on base twice, a single and a run scored and is walked. Davis pitches in the dirt. Wind has picked back up. Keeps shifting about 10 degrees or so in terms of the direction, because every once in a while it comes over my left shoulder and just rips right through my microphone. Ball 2. Sample showed bunt. To me, she didn't bring the barrel back. Two-0 from Davis. Showing bunt again. This one a strike. Been out here roughly 4 hours and 25 minutes between the two games. Two-one pitch. Curveball for a strike, 2-2. Good pitch on the inner half. With that loss in game number 1, Megan Davis fell to 3-3. Had been pitching very well. Tap her right back to the Dragon pitcher. She pours it across to Wilson, 1 away. Sample now 1 for 2, and that'll bring up Delaney Freeze, the first baseman, hit by a pitch and struck out. My, did she do damage in game number 1. Game-tying pitch hit grand slam after being pulled from the circle, that coming in the 7th, and then she delivered a double that drove in the go-ahead run in the 9th. Time called. 5 RBIs in her last 2 at-bats in the first game. The current pitcher, Abby Cox, drove in 3 in game number 1. Good pitch from Megan Davis. It's a strike, 0-1. Megan's not a strikeout pitcher. She has to pitch to contact and hit her spots. That one's corked, but line caught right by the shortstop, Caitlin Schumacher, 2 away. Sounded better than it looked. It was a softly hit liner to Schumacher, and she was able to get in position to make the catch. 2 up and 2 down for Adriana Pedro, the second baseman. She's been hit by a pitch and singled. She hit in the 5th spot in the order in game number 1, and then Kaylani Bryan moved her down to the 7th slot for this one. She loops one into right field. That's a hit. Coming up throwing, but not getting her in time. Now the ball hits the base runner and kicks right back to the right fielder, Ullery, and she's getting it up at second base. Is Pedro single in an air? That was bizarre. Ullery came up gunning, trying to get the runner at first, and the throw glanced right off of Pedro and right back down the line to Ullery. That allowed Pedro to go to second, so it'll be a single and Hutchinson's first error of the game. What else bizarre could happen to this softball team this afternoon? Jordan Coddington, the catcher. A bases loaded walk and a single. Pitch taken low for a ball. All the runs scored in the 4th were with 2 out. Pitch for a strike, 1-1. Good pitch from Davis. Megan's actually right now looking to be more effective pitching on the inner half. The Greyhounds are crowding the plate, so why not? One hopper to Felvis at second, on to first in time, the inning is over. So good inning for Davis, despite the 2-out hit and the throwing error. Fort Scott strands 1 at second base, no runs, a hit, 1 left. 4-1 Fort Scott as we head to the bottom of the 5th at Fun Valley. Well, one good comeback deserves another. Fort Scott had a big one in game number 1 and pulled off the win. Let's see if the Blue Dragons can do the same. Bottom of the 5th rolls around. 4-1 Fort Scott. It is the bottom 3rd of the order for Hutchinson here in the 5th. Briones, Schumacher, and Felvis. Amy Cox took her time getting back out to the circle between innings. Now just getting her final warm-up and the throw down. We'll get back to work here. Dragons held to just 5 hits. Try to get you some NCAA scores. Shockers won in the NIT today. They're on to the NIT quarterfinals. Cox coming in with a 1-6 record in the circle with a 7.0 ERA. Only 30 strikeouts in 43 innings, but she has been dynamite in this one. Pulled foul by Briones, who flew out to center field her first time. Cox 4 innings, now 1 hit, 1 run, which is unearned. She has struck out 5 and walked 1. She has really kept the Dragon hitters off balance. On 1 pitch. Off speed, misses wide, 1-1. Briones digs in. Pitch. One spins outside, 2-1 to the Dragon third baseman. If the Dragons are to come back and win, that'll get them back to 500 at 9-9. The pitch. The inside pitch pulled down the left field line, but it's going to hook foul. And again, right now, that's just a great location for Cox. She challenged inside and had it far enough in on the barrel that all AJ could do was pull it foul. 2-2 to Briones. Cox's pitch. Little blooper to shallow right, but playing shallow is Josie Bartlett, and she's got it 1 away. Fort Scott outfielders have been playing shallow all day, and the Dragons, with the exception of 1 time, have not been able to burn them. That was that 3-run triple by Alexis Way in the first game. We're going to get a pinch hitter now for Caitlin Schumacher. It's going to be Aubrey Peck. So Peck pinch hitting for Schumacher.
Number 13, Aubrey Peck.
Peck out of Wichita, 5'6" freshman. Aubrey playing in her 11th game, 5 out of 32 so far, a 156 average. She has driven in 6, no extra base hits. Pitch inside, ball 1. Peck's last at bat came in game 1 against Allen on March 18th, a pinch hit. Strike on the outside corner, 1-1. She also had an at-bat or a walk in that game, so she had 2 plate appearances. Not had a hit since March 8th against the Friends JV. Pitch outside, 2-1. Started off hot. She had a 3-hit game in the suspended game completed on February 20th at Onosina. She went 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs. Taps one along third, foul. Now it's 2-2. Right now the Dragons just looking for anything to get going. Can say it to the point of redundancy, but it makes the fact all the more true. 2-2 pitch. Peck wouldn't chase, and she runs the count full. Pitch count for Abby Cox now at 71, 45 for strikes. Now the payoff to Peck. Swung him, pop foul out of play, and we'll do it again. It was 3 years ago today that we were playing here at Fun Valley, and the skies were as red as Mars. I saw that on my Facebook feed today. Here's the payoff pitch again. Swung on in the dirt. The throw down is in time. It'll be another strikeout, the 8th of the game for Cox, and there's 2 up and 2 down here in the 5th. 3 years ago were all those wildfires in southern Kansas and northern Oklahoma. And that big one just south of Medicine Lodge that straddled the state lines. All the smoke blew up here, and it was the most interesting looking red you've ever seen. You could smell the smoke. Isabel McCarty now pinch hitting for Shelby Felvis. Takes a pitch outside. McCarty, 2 for 7. Swings and pops one up, shallow right. In comes Bartlett, the right fielder. She's got it a few steps short of the grass. And once again, the Dragons are retired in order. 1, 2, 3. And is now 7 in a row retired by Abby Brown. We go to the 6th. Fort Scott 4, Hutchinson 1. Defensively for the Dragons, Caitlin Schumacher re-enters the game at short. Shelby Felvis re-enters the game at second. They were pinch hit for in the bottom of the 5th. Now we go to the 6th. It's been all Fort Scott today. Team has started off 2-16, now riding a 5-game hitting streak and bidding for a 6th. Josie Bartlett will lead it off. 9-1 and 2 here in the 6th against Megan Davis. Strike called. Bartlett has flown out to right, reached on the fielder's choice, and scored. Fort Scott did not have impressive numbers coming in, but they have played very, very well today. Good pitch from Davis, a strike on the outside corner called, and it's 0-2. I want to say Hutch is in a rebuilding mode after moving back up to Division I this year, but just enough has happened to enough players where it kind of feels that way. It kind of feels reminiscent of the 1990 Atlanta Braves and the 1989 Atlanta Braves, where Bobby Cox brought all those studs up, or would have been studs, or about to be studs, I should say. That pitch has fouled off. Guys like Dale Murphy, Tom Glavin, Steve Avery, John Smoltz. Basically, they got their brains beat in for 2 years and then ran off 14 consecutive division titles, including the 1995 World Series. It's just kind of what it feels like right now. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Good pitch from Davis, 1 away. That's back to the top of the order and Sierra Sanderson. And again, when I make references like that, I'm not downgrading this team. It's a feeling. You know, baseball history about as good as anybody, and I can translate that into softball history as well. Sanderson 0 for 3, taking a strike at the letters. My point is, don't get too upset right now with this up and down manner of this softball team. Jamie Rose is a veteran coach, as is Ben Whitsett, as is Ray Aguirre. The pitch. Chased a pitch out of the zone and fouled it off, and it's 0-2. This coaching staff is going to bring this team along. They may not make a big push this year, but they're going to learn from all the downtimes and become much stronger in the future. It's part of the growing process. 0-2 to Sanderson. The pitch way upstairs. 1-2. I've seen it time and time again. Sometimes you have to tear down to rebuild. Hard hit ball to short. Caitlin Schumacher fields and throws to get the speedy Sanderson 2 away. The infield is playing in tight at all 4 positions. I think the middle infielders are tired of getting beat by the 2 lefties, Sanderson and Meyer, on infield hits. There's Meyer. 2 infield singles in this one, including a RBI infield single in the 4th. The pitch. Upstairs, ball 1. First baseman Ashley Wilson and third baseman A.J. Briones already way up. But if you look at shortstop Caitlin Schumacher, she's playing a step in front of the baseline. The pitch. Strike at the letters, 1-1. Shelby Felvis about 2 steps behind the baseline. If Meyer would pull it to her, she would have that much more time to make the throw. But Schumacher's up tight. Slice foul out of play over the Fort Scott dugout. Dragons have 2 at-bats remaining to try to get something going. Evidently a fan was struck by that foul ball, wasn't looking, but everybody's okay. 1-2 to Meyer. The pitcher Megan Davis upcoming. Just missed. I think Meyer thought she got rung up. She's talking to the umpire now, looking down like, am I still standing here batting? Closed pitch goes Fort Scott's way. Now if Megan throws that same pitch, let's see if she gets it, because that looked like a pretty good strike. 2-2 pitch. Full count. That one was low. Right now, I think Kennedy Meyer is thinking with this at bat, she's playing with house money. Here's the payoff. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs from Megan Davis. Tap foul at the plate, we'll do it again. Great crowd on hand today. Some left between games. Getting a little bit chilly. The first base stands now encased in shadows, which makes it a little cooler. I will be so ready for 82 degrees and high skies. This winter has been absolutely ridiculous. We didn't have it in Texas, trust me. At most, it was 62 in Texas. Scott Brooks talking to me. Once again, the 3-2, 2-out pitch. Foul out of play again. Just really like the approach of these 2 left-handers for Fort Scott. They make you work. Look, there's going to be some teams in the Jayhawk East Division, too, that are going to be driven batty by Sanderson and Meyer. 3-2 pitch. Line to left field. That's down. Bronner shading, or excuse me. Stockman shading her eyes, getting it in. So it is a 3-hit game for Meyer. She has 5 for the afternoon. That's her first one out of the infield. She's likely to go here with Lane Bolkin, the hitter. Bolkin broke this game open with a 2-run double off the base of the left field wall. And you look out to left right now, Brent Stockman is shading her eyes, struggling in this sun. Pitch outside to Bolkin. Dragons trail by 3, and they can afford to give up no more. Cork to center field and deep, going back his way. She'll chase it down just short of the track to end the inning. No runs on 1 hit, 1 left. The Greyhounds have stranded 8 through 6 innings. 6 outs remain for the Dragons to try to start a comeback. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Greyhounds 4 and the Dragons 1. A near major upset in the NCAA tournament. UCF pushes Duke to all they wanted. Duke wins 77-76. So the Blue Devils advance. Pinch hitter to lead off the top bottom of the 6th will be Brooke Jamison. She was a pinch runner in the first game, the sophomore from Andover. Pinch hitting for Alexis Way. It's the top of the order. Now Jamison, Ullery, and Stockman. Right now, Jamie Rose trying to get anybody up there to light a spark into this offense. Jamison takes high ball 1. Brooke just her 9th at bat of the year. She's 2 for 8. Does have an RBI. She's struck out 5 times. The pitch. Inside corner, strike called. Brooke has, last at bat was Friday at Pratt, a pinch hit. Or she was pinch running. The last at bat was against Independence, a strike. Wow, that outside corner I think is getting bigger. It's 1-2 now to Brooke Jamison. And the Dragons just haven't done a great job of adjusting to it because Cox keeps jamming her inside. What off speed misses 2-0. Dragons just have not gotten a good read off of Abby Cox, again, who came into this game with a 7.0 ERA. Pitch spins outside, 2-2. Fort Scott crowd wanted that one. And a full count now due to Brooke Jamison. Here's the payoff. Tap foul at the plate, and Brooke stays alive. 82 pitches now for Cox, 52 for strikes. Cox not with overpowering stuff, but her movement pitches have been devastating at times. 3-2. And on the hands, foul back. And Jamison stays alive. Dragons need base runners. They're down 3. It's not like they're just down 1. Tying run sits in the dugout right now. Pitch spins outside. It's a leadoff walk to start the 6th to Brooke Jamison. So now Taylor Ullery. Ullery has popped up and reached on an error. She's probably the one Dragon with the best swings, her and A.J. Briones. Line shot to the third baseman. That's caught, and getting back in time is Jamison. She froze on the line drive. Another good swing by Ullery, but results in an out to the third baseman, Mackenzie Sample, and it's just that type of day for Hutchinson. One away for Bryn Stockman. Bryn 0 for 2, popped up and grounded out. Strike outside corner. Dragons team batting average taking a beating today. Came in at 324 in the afternoon. There's a liner to the left that's going to drop for a hit just inside the line. Jamison will stop, and that brings the tying run up. And it will be Kiara DeCrane. DeCrane will pinch hit for Luddig. And that brings a meeting into the circle. Also, head coach Kaylani Bryan in for a very quick word, but Kiara DeCrane, the sophomore from Bartlesville, Oklahoma, will be the pinch hitter.
Maintaining the Dragons, number 16, Kiara DeCrane.
Key becomes the fourth pinch hitter of the game. Key with definite pop. She's only played in 4 games, 4 for 12. 2 doubles, 3 RBIs. Pitch spins outside, ball 1. On deck is Bailey Bronner. I thought we might see Luddig and then pinch hit. Strike inside corner. 8 home runs last year as a freshman for Kiara DeCrane. Jamison at second, Stockman at first. Off-speed pitch is a foul at the plate, and it's 1-2. That's another key thing about Abby Cox's performance. She has seemingly been ahead in counts all afternoon. 1-2 pitch. Fouled off by DeCrane. Key homered in her very first Blue Dragon at bat last year. 1-2 pitch. Off speed dismisses outside. Cox wanted it, didn't get the call. Now it's 2-2 to DeCrane. DeCrane, the potential tying run. At least the Dragons got it to the plate here in the 6th. 2-2 pitch. Did it hit her? Yes, it did. And the bases are loaded. So Key wears a pitch. And that'll be Maddie Miner to pinch hit for Bailey Bronner.
Maintaining the Dragons, number 11, Maddie Miner.
Miner, a sophomore from Perry, Oklahoma. Looking for her first hit of the year. She's 0 for 6. Pitch downstairs for a ball. Well, the Dragons have what they wanted. They got the base runners. Now they need to get the hit. Still just 2 hits in game number 2. Up the middle, knocked down by the pitcher. That flipped to second for 1, but a run scores. Key had to make sure that ball wasn't caught out of the air. That's why she was out by a fairly wide margin. She wasn't going to get doubled off. So, be a fielder's choice RBI for Miner. DeCrane is retired 1-6. Stockman goes to third, and Jamie scores. Brooke Jamison scores. We're going to get another pinch hitter. And it's Jordan Vosberg. Or Jaden Vosberg, excuse me. 0 for 3. Playing in just her second game. Pinch hitting for Ashley Wilson. So Vosberg now with 2 outs. Tying run still at first. The pitch to Vosberg misses, or actually catches the outside corner for a strike. Slow hit grounder to short, fielded, and in time by a step to get Vosberg, and the inning is over. The Dragons get 1 back. I imagine we will see all kinds of re-entries in the 7th. Dragons get 1 run on 1 hit They strand 2, and we go to the 7th. Fort Scott 4, Hutchinson 2. As expected, all the pinch hitters in the 6th, the original players return to their lineups. And Megan Davis will work against Abby Cox to start the 7th. That means that Alexis Way returns to center. Ashley Wilson returns to first base, and Bailey Bronner remains the DP. 0-1 to Cox. Pitch a little bit upstairs for a ball, 1-1. Cox in this one, 1 for 3 after a 4-hit game in the first game. Drove in 3 runs in game number 1. Pitching a gem in the circle for Fort Scott in game number 2. 1-1 pitch. That one smoked to center field. So 1 hopper to Way. And Cox has her 6th hit of the doubleheader. Leadoff single for Cox, and it'll bring up Mackenzie Sample, the third baseman. See if Kalani Bryan will play small ball and try to get that run back. Sample so far 1 for 2 with the walk, bunts it foul. I get a piece of Beanie Luding's hand. She's shaking a little bit, but she's okay. Wind picking back up again. Despite the wind blowing out, only 1 home run today, and that was the grand slam of Delaney Freeze. Pinch hit grand slam, the top of the 7th to tie the game. It's way outside, good snag by Ludig. That's 1-1. Coming up on the 7 o'clock hour, I'll admit I'm starting to get really cold. Scott Brooks is too. 1-1 pitch. Bunted right on the plate. Ludig will pour it to first. The throw is wide, and it glances off Felbus's glove into shallow right field. That will allow Cox to go to third. It'll be a throwing error on Beanie Ludig, but she had to let it rip. She didn't have time to get the angle and throw. So now it's first and third, nobody out. And the Dragons once again in trouble. Sample will be credited with a sac bunt. Cox goes to third. And now here is Delaney Freeze. Freeze 0 for 2, was hit with a pitch. Lined out her last time. Hard hit ball to short. Schumacher comes home and it's an easy out. Cox is tagged out by Beanie Ludig for out number 1. Cox was going on contact, but Schumacher was playing shallow. Sample will go to second. Now first and second, 1 out. For Pedro. Pitch. Ground ball right back to Davis. They go to third for one, and that'll be the only play. So now first and second, 2 out. For the right fielder, or for the catcher, Jordan Coddington. Getting caught up here. We had a little bit of a foul up with the computer. Had to get that fixed. Showing bunt, taking low for a ball. It's Coddington, and it's 2-0. Now we got it caught up. Yeah, while broadcasting and tweeting, I'm also the official scorer, so I've got my official stats computer up here as well. And every once in a while it takes precedence over the broadcast. Pitch downstairs, 3-0. Top of, or 9-hole hitter, and Josie Bartlett is next. But today, there's been no Fort Scott batter who's been a gimme out. Credit to the Greyhounds. They came in with a very aggressive plan and so far pulled it off. Didn't start out great. They were down 8-1 after 4 innings in the first game. 3-2 pitch. Or 3-0 pitch is a called strike. Now 3-1. It is going to be, in essence, do or die for the Dragons when they're pitching or in the field. I'll explain why in a moment. First, the 3-1. Loster and the bases are loaded. So Coddington walks. Pedro to second, Freeze to third. Right now the Dragon pitchers, not big strikeout pitchers, and they have the propensity to get hit hard. So they're going to be pitching with base runners a lot this year. Ray Geary is going to pop out of the dugout and talk strategy with Megan Davis and the rest of the infield. And again, a learning process. Teams have gone through it before. This is not like it's the first time this has ever happened. You have injuries and whatever, and things just kind of snowball on each other, and it seems like any little negative really can kind of rain down on you. But you keep fighting through it, makes yourself stronger. By the end of this season, the Dragons are going to be a tough out. I sense that about this team. Now Bartlett. Strikeout victim hurt last time against Megan Davis. Megan entered the game in the 4th. To get out of a jam after Fort Scott had scored 3 to take the lead. Just the right call. Dragons tied it up in the 3rd. Fort Scott immediately answered with 3 in the top of the 4th. Bases full of Greyhounds. One from Davis to Bartlett. In there for a strike, 0-2. Coddington at first, Pedro at second, Freeze at third. 0-2 to Bartlett, the pitch. Fouled off barely, but Bartlett stays alive. Kind of that tenacious nature this afternoon the Greyhounds have been showing. Once again, the 0-2 from Megan Davis to Josie Bartlett. Here it is. Showing bunt. Slap third base side. Fielded by Briones. Fires across in time. And the Dragons get out of what could have been a disastrous inning. Fort Scott leaves them loaded. Could have broken it open. Now let's see if the Dragons can take their chances or take advantage. Last time coming around, it is Briones, Schumacher, and Felvis. Dragons trail Fort Scott 4-2. Fort Scott had a big comeback in game number 1. No reason the Blue Dragons can't do it in game number 2. Fort Scott leads Hutch 4-2. It's the bottom third of the order. A.J. Briones, Caitlin Schumacher, and Shelby Felvis. If anybody gets on Alexis Way. Right now the Dragons just need to get a base runner to get the tying run to the plate. And Briones pops one up on the right side of the infield. It's the second baseman. Pedro makes the catch, and there's one away. Dragons down to their final 2 outs. And you don't want to first pitch swinging it when you're down 2 in the 7th. That's a freshman mistake. Now Caitlin Schumacher. Briones is over 2. Schumacher walked and struck out. Taps one to third. Fielded by Sample to throw across in time. 2 pitches, 2 outs. And Abby Cox is 1 out away from a gem. Shelby Felvis, the last chance for Hutchinson. She swings and pops it up. Catch is made and Fort Scott sweeps Hutchinson by the scores of 9-8 in 9 innings and 4-2. 3 pitches, 3 outs in the bottom of the 7th. And the coaching staff of the Blue Dragons not happy. We'll wrap it up right after this. Welcome back to Fun Valley. A very disappointing Sunday afternoon for the Blue Dragons. They dropped both ends of this non-league doubleheader to Fort Scott, 9-8 in 9 innings, and then 4-2. And this is kind of the epitome of the afternoon. And the bottom of the 7th, needing base runners. All Abby Cox needed was 3 pitches, 3 straight pop-outs to finish her complete game with exactly 100. And that's a frustrated bunch of Blue Dragons right now. Hutchinson falls to 8-10. Fort Scott has now won 6 in a row and improves to 8-16. Here are the totals for the game. For Fort Scott, 4 runs, 10 hits, 1 error, 11 left on base. For the Blue Dragons, 2 runs, just 2 hits, 2 errors, and 4 left on base. Winning pitcher Abby Cox, she improves to 2-6. Cassidy Pruka takes the loss. She's 0-1. Time of the second game, 2 hours and 3 minutes. Dragons have 6 total hits this afternoon. That is just not going to get it done against a pitching staff that came in with a 5.05 ERA. Abby Cox, the distance. That was with an ERA of 7, and she allows just 2 hits and 2 runs, 1 earned. But she gets the victory. The only hits of the afternoon for the Blue Dragons come from, let me find them here, Alexis Way in the 3rd, and then Bryn Stockman in the 6th. Again, 4 hits in the first game, 2 in the second game. Really not much more to say on this one. The Dragons need to get back to work. Again, no game tomorrow at Neosho County. That doubleheader's been called off in Chanute. And the Dragons have home league doubleheaders Tuesday and Wednesday right here at Fun Valley. Nationally ranked Butler comes in Tuesday, and Garden City comes in on Wednesday. We'll have the broadcasts for both of those. For everybody here at Fun Valley, Steve Carpenter from the west side of Hutchinson. Glad to be back doing Blue Dragon softball. We'll get some wins down the road. Until then, until Tuesday afternoon, Steve Carpenter from Fun Valley. So long, everybody.